Good evening, this is the Oscar Expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to review Close to You. This is directed by Dominic Savage and is co-written by Dominic Savage and Elliot Page, who stars in the film, and it is about a transgender man coming home for his dad's birthday, reuniting with his family after 5 years, and kind of dreading the reunion, but not because he has like overtly transphobic parents. That would have kind of made a little bit more of an obvious movie. The ways in which the family makes him uncomfortable, I felt were very nuanced, and it really puts you in the shoes of a trans person and how it can feel to have other people like trying to walk carefully around you or not say things,
make it about themselves, but not on purpose. What this film does really well is it presents flawed human beings, many of whom are well-intentioned, who want to understand who their son is or who their brother is. They may even be trying their best, but can't get past their personal feelings on it, and those feelings end up being spilled out onto him. I was really glad that I caught this movie. I think it purposefully makes the character's experience somewhat ordinary and typical so that a large number of people can relate to it. And I think it's worth noting in my Q&A that Elliot Page does not feel like this character is based on him. He's playing a character. And he and the entire cast give excellent performances. I mean, all around this ensemble was great. Really interesting fact about this movie is that it was outlined and then improvised. And you can really feel that. Every time a movie uses a lot of improvisation, I come away really liking that choice. Absolutely the case here. The conversations have this sort of authenticity and, like, you know, the overlapping dialogue and the nature of them just in general feels much more real. And for a story like this, which is trying to be very raw and down to earth and tap into specificities in the types of uncomfortable conversations that trans people might run into, like, I think that was a really good choice. There were many moments that brought me to tears from the sheer emotion and tension between the family and how kind of heartbreaking it is to see them fractured. The film's not just about the family dynamic, there's also a romance involved here, and I think the film wants to be clear that it's not just about a trans person. This is just about a human being, and it's a love story, and a story that everybody can relate to. There's palpable chemistry between Elliot Page and Hilary Bach, who gives an excellent supporting performance, but I felt like that was a little bit more treaded territory and not quite as compelling as the family stuff. I second that there were elements of Elliot Page's relationship with the ex that didn't hit as hard for me as the family dynamics. Overall, I didn't love the visual style of this movie that much. It was very gray and gloomy and dreary. They didn't light the interiors very much, and they had a lot of light pouring in through windows, and it just kind of darkened the faces. I felt it was a little overly gloomy, and sometimes the camera was drifting in ways that I didn't really like. Like, it would go right up to Elliot Page's like eyes when we were trying to do an emotional part. I know it was improvised, so I guess that kind of makes me forgive it more, but we're also meant to believe that Elliot Page's character has found himself and his happiness in his current life and living situation, and I feel that was a little bit missing from the movie because of that sad, like, style to it. I don't know if the movie needed a sad style, is kind of my thing. I wouldn't describe the style as sad, honestly. I think you're really referring to the lack of color in the film. But really, it looks like that because there's no lighting. I think it's all practical lighting, and they didn't really try to light it like a set.
That's still their problem,
I guess, but I didn't care.
They could have still done that. You can still improvise and have a little more light in the room.
You know what, I just read about the Dogma 95 movement after I watched The Celebration, and I was very receptive to the fact that this movie, I thought, didn't need to look good, did not need to try, because that's not what film needs to do. If your objective is to be raw and real, and you don't want to care about lighting because you want to show that that's not your objective, like, I'm very receptive to it.
But whether or not that's true, it still registers to the audience as a certain style. Honestly, though, that's sort of a more immediate problem with the movie, but there's been a lot about it that has really stayed with me. I'm very glad that I saw it. I think people will find a lot of value in this movie, and you know, very directly emotional. So I really liked this movie overall. I would give it, like, I'm kind of between a 7 and an 8. This was a festival highlight for me. Definitely one of the most memorable and impactful movies I've seen here, and a journey I would really recommend going on. It's pretty short, it's brisk. I would give this a very strong 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Am I close to you?